Denver and Philadelphia, Bo Nix and Jalen Hurts. In the NFL, this line opened up around 4.5, Joe. Now we're starting to see 3.5s creep in across the sports betting landscape on a low total, which opened up at 42.5, but still sits around 43.5. Denver and Philadelphia, the spread line here, Joe, is what?
Yeah, well, it's interesting here because I think one of the biggest factors we got to keep an eye on here is that Broncos run defense. It ranks 9th, Donnie, right now, according to Pro Football Focus. But, you know, you're going to tell me, well, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, my goodness, he ran for almost 7 yards per carry in week 2. Yeah, that was kind of an outlier because he also had a 68-yard run to the house there, which kind of messed up the numbers a little bit. But Bo Nix, we know the thing about Bo Nix is that he dominated the Bengals last week. And as a favorite, Bo Nix 9-2 against the number in his career. I mean, that's a pretty good percentage as a favorite. As an underdog, he's 4-7 against the number, losing his last 4 starts straight up and against the number. But here's the thing that I love about this. He is 20-2 as a quarterback with the Broncos when you use him in 6-point teasers, Donnie. How do you like that? He has covered 12 straight 6-point teasers as a QB for the Denver Broncos.
There you go. Take a look at that. How about this game? The Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets, a 2.5-point favorite for the road team. The Dallas Cowboys up against Joe's Jets. The spread line here is what, Joe?
Yeah, well, the spread line, Donnie, is this is a classic pros versus Joes here. You've got the public going, did you see the Jets on Monday night? This team is awful. There's no way they're going to beat Dak and the Cowboy. Yeah, well, all the money, all the tickets, Donnie, going on Dallas, and yet this line is frozen at 2.5. Donnie, why is that? Oh, yeah, that's because the more influential bettors, the bigger bettors, the pros, so to speak, yeah, they are not buying that Dallas is the spot. Not to mention that Dak Prescott, while he has done pretty well against those under 500 teams, he has not been great against those teams on the road. 10 of the last 13 road teams that were under 500, 10 of those 13 were outright losses for the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Tread carefully with the Cowboys.
Yeah, we're going to talk Major League Baseball. No doubt about it, people. 3 elimination games on a Thursday, 1 starting in the afternoon. That is absolutely fantastic. But the bigger questions are coming up as there's an NFL game tonight. Who's actually playing? We know the San Francisco 49ers are going to show up. We know the Rams will be there, but who's actually going to be in uniform? That's the bigger question. Joe Ranieri, I look at this game and I say to myself, the look-ahead line, -3 for the Rams, makes some sense. The line on game day, 8.5 points because of how many injuries the San Francisco 49ers have sustained over the offseason and the past couple weeks. The total in this game opened up 47.5. That's now been bet down to 45.5 at most outlets. Let's start there, Joe. Divisional rivalry, but these two teams, different markups. One's healthy and ready to go. One's not.
Yeah, and it's been kind of all Rams in this series over the last couple of years. McVay's kind of had Shanahan's number, healthy or not healthy here. But, I mean, it's so hard, Donnie, to figure out what are you going to get from this 49ers offense here tonight? I mean, do we have any clue whatsoever offensively what they are going to bring to the table? I don't. To me, again, I think on a short week, the good news is McVay and company for the Rams are likely going to get a whole lot of Kyron Williams going. They're going to run the ball. They're not going to take a ton of chances here because I think they can probably put this game early away, and then the defense can limit the 49ers. But my goodness, I mean, it has just been one after the other. We thought they were the injury team last year. Well, they're the injury team this year, and if it wasn't for the Ravens, we would, again, just be talking about how terrible these injuries are for the 49ers. It's just absolutely crazy to me how bad it has been for this organization over the last year and a half.
Two really good defenses, and I think you bring up a good point because you're trying to handicap this game, and I always use the term running mate, right? Like, I'm going to get an honest opportunity from the team I'm betting against who's going to keep my team in the game, so if I need a total to go over, hey, if they have 0 points at the half, you're probably not going to get that total because the game is going to slow down. If you have a 14-14 game at the half, you know the second half, each one of these teams knows they have to move the football and get forward. That's what I'm struggling with right now. Now, you take a look at Mac Jones's first 2 starts of the season filling in for Brock Purdy. They weren't bad, Joe. 279 yards passing and 284. One game against the Saints, which the Saints aren't very good, threw 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions. The other game against the Cardinals, 1-1, but both of those were victories here. So it's not as if you're going to get a rookie quarterback. I don't know how he's going to perform. Mac Jones has had a lot of starts in the NFL and is a quality veteran, at least as a backup. But the question to me is, who's getting the football? Because if you don't have a guy that you have to focus on, like, hey, let's go shut down George Kittle, let's go shut down Brandon Ayuk, you have 3 wide receivers out there that aren't very good, and I don't know where the yards come from on a short work week. That's what I'm struggling with, Joe. From a 49ers perspective, how do you approach them? Is it spread? Is it total? Is it team total under? Are there prop bets that you like? How do you do it?
Yeah, to me, it's all about the totals in this spot because really that's the only thing that you can count on. Listen, short week games usually aren't exactly going to be some sort of crazy wild shootout, especially when you're dealing with one team that's got a backup quarterback, doesn't have a starting wide receiver or legit threat outside of one guy, and it's McCaffrey. So, what is the choice here? If I'm Shanahan, I need to dink and dunk my way down his field and keep Stafford and company off of it. And if I am McVay, listen, I know that running defense right now is a little bit suspect here for the 49ers. I would just let the offensive linemen win in the trenches, let Kyron Williams go off here. I'm expecting him to have a big game. But the total, to me, was always the way to look at this. When you have one team short week healthy versus the other team not, yeah, I thought 47 and a half at the open was way too many points here in this one.
By the way, let me ask you this question, too, because sometimes you have to take a look at the long term for the 49ers. Like, they're hoping to get players back. And this might be one of those games where you don't throw in the towel because it's a division rival. They'll play hard. But sometimes you can't, burn the candle at both ends. The reason I bring this up is, are the expectations, Joe, that Christian McCaffrey just played Sunday is going to get 35 touches in this game on a short work week? Like, his rushing prop total is 62.5, and his touchdown prop is decent, let's just say, at a minus 125. But is it smart for Shannon to say, we're probably going to lose this game, and let me get my star ball carriers at injuries in the past, 35 touches? The reason I bring this up is Brian Robinson Jr. has gone over 20 rushing yards in each of the first couple games that he's played. He's 16.5 in this game. You can't lead me to believe that McCaffrey is going to play 98% of the snaps on a Thursday night. Maybe a backup option is best, but so many intriguing options, Joe, to go after tonight.
Yeah, but the bottom line is the only healthy room that you have for Shanahan is the running back room. So you're going to have to utilize those guys as best you can, both on the ground and in the passing game, too.
Yeah, we'll hit this game a little bit later because it's not a great game on paper here because the 49ers are so injured, but some intriguing options that you can bet on and make some money, no doubt about it. More NFL news and notes coming up next right here on The Early Line. It's about time. Yes, it's about time for The Early Line. We've been on the air already. It's hour number 1. You're watching, you're enjoying. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe and Erie. It's how we get down each and every Monday through Friday right here on the Sports Grid Network, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. But sometimes we get some topics that pop up that we're excited about and we expected to happen. You know what that is? Dillon Gabriel is going to start for the Browns over Joe Flacco. The old man in the sea gets shown the bench. It's time for the future, which is right now. How about this? Dillon Gabriel will become the 41st starting quarterback for the Browns since 1999, the most by any team in that span. And I got to tell you, Browns fans now have a reason to watch football overseas this weekend, Joe.
It was just, I don't know why it took this long, Donnie, if we're being completely honest. Yeah. What was this year supposed to be for the Browns? I mean, granted, you need to start Flacco and maybe game 1, maybe game 2. But after that, what are we doing here the entire season, especially with the number 1 defense, Donnie, in the NFL and a whole lot of metrics here? Can't you just put somebody to give them a little bit of a spark here and see it? You went out of your way to draft not 1, but 2 young quarterbacks, and you're throwing out this fossil here still in week 4, and we're all scratching our head going, why? Like, what am I missing here? So kudos to Stefanski and the organization for finally making the move, and let's see what they got. Because I can tell you right now, I think it's going to be a lot better than what people are anticipating here with Dillon Gabriel. He is clearly the better quarterback in the room. Not like there's a lot of choices in that room, Donnie, but he is clearly, according to Stefanski and the coaching staff, he gives them the best shot at winning. So let's see if he can win a couple of games.
I like this move, and I'll be watching there certainly Sunday morning to see how he does. But also understand this. There's two sides to every story. Like Joe Flacco knows he was brought in to be like a placeholder. Lightning in a bottle, we win 10 games, make the playoffs, that's great. We knew that wasn't happening because Cleveland was one of the worst teams coming into the season in the odds market with their win total. So we were just expecting hold the candle, for a couple weeks here before you pass that candle over and see what happens. It's Dylan Gabriel now. But I saw a video yesterday that we're going to show right now. And that's from, Sanders talking, but not talking was baffling. Let's take a look.
Third quarterback. Vocally, anything to say?
I guess one more. What do you think you have to show? Show to the coaches just to have them have that belief in you that you can be ready.
What can you say?
How much has Joe been important to both you and Dylan in terms of your guys' development to this point?
Help me out with this, because I understand he is a personality. But sometimes when you get into a corporate environment, which the NFL is, where you're trying to get on the football field, like it's going through a job interview. They put a microphone in front of your face. Hey, look, I'm working as hard as I can. When my opportunity comes up, I know I'm going to dominate out there. I'm just waiting for that opportunity. People look at that as like, that kid's a competitor. But how come every time we go to Shedeur Sanders, it feels like it's a clown show and he just doesn't understand how to read the room? Like, I didn't even watch that yesterday, Joe, with any context. I turned on am I not getting the audio, and who filmed this? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I can't hear what he's saying. Only for him to be a mime in a conversation where they're asking him what he thinks about the move here. I don't get what's going on in Cleveland. Sometimes I just don't. Well played.
Do you see how absolutely stupid that looks? I mean, you've got to be kidding me, people. Like, seriously? This was always going to be the problem, Johnny. The kid has obviously got a ton of athletic ability. He's got a ton of talent. But the question was never going to be, could he make it athletically? It was always above the shoulders. How do you take a kid that has literally been spoon-fed since since birth, has been, he's got a Hall of Fame father. It was his coach in college. He's never, ever had any adversity one way or the other. He's never had to worry about not playing. And how does he adjust to being the third string quarterback? How is he going to adjust to not being a top 10 pick, but having to go in the 5th round? These were all the bigger questions, not his athletic ability or his quarterback prowess. It was, what was he going to do when they stick a microphone in his face? What kind of leader would he be? And I think we have our answer here.
It's and again, like all the background noise, and it started a year and a half ago. I'm going to pick the school for my son, or pick the team for my son when the draft comes up, and he'll go top 5, and he slips. And the Ravens pick up the phone, who's a great organization. The Philadelphia Eagles pick up the phone. Hey, we're thinking about drafting Shedeur here. No. We want to go to his place where we can start. And then he drops all the way to the 5th round. And instead of coming in and saying, you know what, I'm just going to work hard and let the chips fall, because understand this: the Cleveland Browns aren't teaching him a lesson. The Cleveland Browns every single day, whether it's in front of the chalkboard or out on that practice field, are reviewing each one of their quarterbacks to see who is viable to start a football game that weekend. And it's clear that Dylan Gabriel has out-practiced him all the way through and outplayed him in the preseason games. And that's why we're doing this. This isn't another one of those, schemes where, they're just trying to prove a point and humble the kid. No, they're not. Dylan Gabriel right now is a more effective starter, they believe, than Shedeur Sanders, regardless of what he says. And instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to have to fight my way through this and start, and I believe I will. I'm just going to put my head down. He does antics like this. Not designed to get him a starting job, designed to do what? Cause friction in the locker room? We'll see what happens coming up. But Gabriel's going to get the start this weekend, which then brings up, what the heck is going on in the AFC North, Joe? Look at the quarterback room in this division. The Bengals, Joe Burrow out 3 months with a turf toe. They look horrendous without Joe Burrow. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, they're being coy, but he's probably going to miss maybe upwards of a month, and Cooper Rush is going to start. We just got Joe Flacco benched for Dylan Gabriel, and there's the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers and the boys, 3-1 start now on a bye. Times are looking good in the Iron City.
When you think about it, this was a division that started two 40-year-old quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Now one of them is hurt, or one of them has been demoted. That's a shocker, right there. And now we are left with a couple of backups with awful offensive lines. Trying to go out there and make a difference or hold down the fort. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny for all of the craziness surrounding Aaron Rodgers with the Jets over the last couple of years. It's just amazing that he landed in the one division, Donnie, as a year older quarterback in his 40s now, and by default he is the best one in that division now. And by the way, you gotta like his chances there of continuing to get better and better with the Steelers. They should be the clear favorite moving forward until we can figure out the injury situation with the Ravens. I have no doubt that the Browns and the Bengals at this point will be going in opposite directions.
About to start playing some renegade people for those Pittsburgh Steelers fans here. How about this? Washington and Los Angeles. That's the Chargers going to tangle this weekend. Jaden Daniels, he's ready to get back in there. How effective, Joe, can he be this week against the Chargers?
Well, he wasn't really that great the first couple of games he played. And that I think was to be expected because, listen, year two, we saw Bo Nix take, have a couple of rough games early on in this season. You give defensive coordinators a year worth of tape, they're going to figure some things out on you. And that's exactly what appeared to happen in the first couple of games because that offense was not as electric as it was last year. Now, listen, Mariota stepped in. Putting up points has not been an issue with Mariota on the center. The defense has been the issue. Let's see if they can keep putting points up with him under center now.
How about this? The guy under center is Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. He's not getting the ball enough to A.J. Brown. And wide receivers don't care if you go 17-0 and win a Super Bowl. If they are not getting their statistics, they are checked out at this point. Are we expecting a big performance for A.J. Brown this weekend and a force feed of the football to sort of remedy the situation here?
What is he frustrated for? He's on a 4-0 team who's the defending Super Bowl champion. What are we doing? Wait until he gets 9 catches and they lose. Let's see what we hear from him then.
By the way, he's highly compensated, but you know what you don't hear? Devonte Smith is a Heisman Trophy winner, Super Bowl championship, and highly we don't hear him yelling. AJ's just a maniac. By the way, love you, AJ. Get out there and dominate this week. You ever hear the drag racing commercials, Joe? Sunday, Oakland Coliseum. Well, that's what we're going to talk about Sunday this weekend. And yes, the Jets are sending out tweets. Good luck, Yankees. Maybe some good luck themselves as they need some victories here. I don't know if they get it this weekend, but they're not a heavy underdog. The Dallas Cowboys come to town at MetLife as 2.5-point favorites over the New York Jets. Yeah, they moved the football. Yes, he had some decent looks there from Justin Fields. I still don't believe he's an NFL quarterback at this point, but yards should be easy to accumulate in this game. 2 bad defenses, Joe, in a total of 47.5. Did the Jets end up beating the Dallas Cowboys, or they try to run that formula of we're just going to run the football with Breece Hall and our quarterback the entire game and slow this thing down? Do we get points or don't we get points in this game?
I don't. The public loves the Cowboys here, Don, but we're not seeing any. This thing has not hit 3 at all, and I don't think it's going to either here. But you mentioned, we got 2 terrible defenses statistically here. But I think people are forgetting it's not like the Jets have not put up points here. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Not to mention that Dallas has allowed at least 24 points in all 4 games and at least 31 in the past 3. So there is no reason to think that points aren't coming in this game between these 2 teams. And I can't trust Dallas's defense to make a stop on the road. So I already gave you that stat earlier in the spread line that Dak Prescott on the road against sub-500 teams has not been great. I don't trust Dallas in this spot either. I think the Jets are another good 6-point teaser option this week at 8.5.
Well, you look at the Jets and the Cowboys, it's almost like an easy game that you can put your finger on who is going to Dak Prescott over 2 touchdown passes. You know it's going to happen. Pickens probably going to score a touchdown. And you go, well, Donnie, I don't like the Jets offense that much, but here's one thing you know. 47, 48 yards on the ground for Fields. Check that off. Breece Hall's total between rushing and receiving. Check that off. And Garrett Wilson to go over 60 yards and probably get a touchdown catch. It feels like a perfect game to bet. Even though it's these 2 defenses are bad and I don't like the Jets offense. I just gave you the pathway of how you could possibly make money in that game. I'll tell you a game that might be a little bit harder to make money. The Giants and the New Orleans Saints. Hey, love what the Giants did. First start there for Jackson Dart in New York. They beat a really competent football team in the Chargers. Can they do the same thing now on the road against Spencer Rattler, who actually showed a little bit of fight there in Buffalo? Not a great football team, but New Orleans is the favorite here in a total of around 41.5. Dart, Rattler, head-to-head.
This is, again, a public darling here, the Giants against the Saints in this one here, Donnie. They really do.
Yeah.
And listen, with such a low total at 40.5, 41, Donnie, and the fact that we can get the Giants over a touchdown and a 6-point teaser, that has got to be an option for us this week, too, as well, because I don't see the Saints running over anybody here. I believe they should be the favorite as the home team. I think they showed a lot of moxie there against Buffalo. And yeah, I think if I can get the Giants at 7.5, 6-point teaser it is for me.
Joe, any extra motivation? Because I always like this, and I think it's stupid all the time. Like, hey, the Saints passed me over. Extra motivation to go down and beat the New Orleans Saints. Do you ever buy into that? Do you?
No, there's no extra motivation at all for anybody here. It's just try to survive and move on, especially when you're talking about these two teams who are clearly in or should be in rebuild mode. We know New Orleans is, but now there's something to be excited about for the Giants. And I think the key to this one is going to be that Giants defense, not Jackson Dart. Can the Giants defense show up again, Donnie?
Should be a fun one down there in New Orleans. Yeah, not really. How about this one, though? Should be a fun one in Philadelphia. Denver and Philadelphia. How about this? Bo Nix and Jalen Hurts. You have all the camaraderie in the locker room for the Philadelphia Eagles right now going up against the Denver Broncos. Have a good coach in Sean Payton. Look at this line. Opened up at 4.5, Joe. Some outlets still have 4.5, but most have moved on to the 3.5s and a total of 43.5. Philadelphia, a horrible second half, but still picked up a victory against a good Tampa Bay team. Now they come home. Expectations for you. Knicks versus Hurts.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to be interested to see where this goes here. Will the hook still be available come kickoff here?
Yep.
I'm going to be interested. We know Denver. This is a put up or shut up time for them. I mean, listen, Philadelphia. What else can you do? You won all 4 games, although kind of in head scratching fashion a lot of times. Yep. But I think it's going to be important for Denver early to be in this game, Donnie, because if they're not in it early, then they're going to have to make one of those crazy comebacks here. Tampa fell a little bit short doing it, but we seem to have a second half issue here with Philadelphia this year, letting some teams back into games. So to me, I think the first half with Denver, if you like them, they have to be within striking distance by the time the third quarter starts. So I would look maybe for Denver in early in this one if you think they got a shot at pulling off the upset.
By the way, how about the Philadelphia Eagles, too, as you take a look at it, right? Talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Against the Rams, they had like 10 yards in the first half, blew the doors off the Rams in the second. Then you have a great first half in Tampa, and you couldn't move the football in the second half against the Bucs. Make it make sense. It doesn't at this point. You know what else doesn't make sense? The Baltimore Ravens are underdogs at home to a team under 500. Why? Because the entire Ravens team feels like it's injured. But having said that, Joe, pull me off the ledge. I want to take Baltimore in this football game. I think Baltimore can get to 20 points in this football game. Should I be doing that with Cooper Rush? The defense looks like it stinks for the Ravens, but the offense, I know Lamar Jackson isn't there, but can't Cooper Rush be just a pawn piece out there to say, hey, Derek, have the football. Zay Flowers, here, have the football. Can't they move the football?
I mean, when you start going down this list here, I forget about Lamar. I mean, Ronnie Stanley not there. 3 more defensive starters not going to be there. I mean, it's got 7 starters altogether, Donnie, on that side of the ball there are going to be absent for this game. And I still don't trust Houston to get it done, Donnie, on the road in Baltimore. I think Harbaugh has to do the coaching job of the year here. And I think Cooper Rush is more than capable of winning this game for Baltimore.
By the way, last week, the Tennessee Titans played the Houston Texans. And I swear, thank God for the second half, because I ended up picking up a prop bet on C.J. Stroud. That was the worst football game you could ever ask any NFL person to watch who is a fan of. Now they go on the road yes, they won with a shutout over the Titans. How much credit do you get? And also understand this. Baltimore is injured, but they're also wounded as well. What I mean by this, they can't afford another loss. They were 10-point favorites, now underdogs in their own building. That's a crazy line to deal with. More NFL hot topics for this weekend's games up next on the early line. More Sunday football. Why? Because it's our job to get you ready. Look, money never sleeps. The lines are always moving. Information is traveling on a minute-to-minute basis. And it's up to us on the early line in the Sports Grid Network to keep you in the know. Well, Donnie, why don't you take a look at the game between Tampa and Seattle? Why? Because injuries are going to play a big factor in this game as well. Baker Mayfield came out of the football game last week a little bit banged up, still having that issue with his bicep. He said he's going to be just fine this weekend. The question, though, Bucky Irvin, your talented young tailback here. Multiple injuries. He's questionable for this game. Mike Evans hasn't even resumed getting back on the practice field just yet. However, Seattle at home in the Pacific Northwest, only a 3 to 3.5 point favorite right now. It is tough now because I always look at the Buccaneers. Like Mayfield is that just powder keg in the backfield that can give you and wide receivers don't care, make it happen. My running back's not here, don't care, I'll make it happen. It doesn't matter. But how do we feel about Tampa playing in 100-degree temperatures, getting banged up last week, now traveling 3,000+ miles across the continent to the Pacific Northwest to take on those Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, I love it. As long as you can get the hook, I love Tampa Bay in this spot. And here's a couple of reasons why. First of all, Baker Mayfield is 15-6 against the number, Donnie, almost 72% as an underdog with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And by the way, that's 8-2 against the number when he's getting more than a field goal. And as far as the Bucky Irving missing the game, do you know what he was averaging yards per carry? 3.3. Do you know what Rachaad White is averaging? 4.7. So the fact that Bucky Irvin is not going to be there is not, to me, Rachaad White is more than capable of getting this done here. I do like road dogs getting more than a field goal that are more than capable of A, stopping the run, which Tampa is, and B, has a fearless quarterback to go in there. 12th man be damned. I like Tampa there. Sprinkle a little something on the money line as well.
Yeah, what a gamer. What a gamer Baker Mayfield is at that point. Almost like doesn't care who he has. He's still going to ride into that game regardless, and we'll see what happens in the Pacific Northwest. And that could be a key game for deciding some playoff seeding down the line, something to pay attention to. I'll tell you a game that's probably not going to matter about playoff seeding. That's Detroit absolutely beating down the Cincinnati Bengals. But as we know, lines are there for a reason. The public can't get enough for Detroit. Their future look-ahead line was 7.5. It's ballooned up to 10.5 at just about every outlet, and a total 48.5. The question for me never was like, okay, Joe Burrow is going to be injured, but Jake Browning's a capable backup. Are we saying they can see the same heights that they saw with Joe Burrow? No, but you expected, Joe, a competent offense. Now they're incompetent on offense and defense at the same time. And Detroit is notoriously headhunting football teams that can't compete and will happily bust 50 on a team. The question is, do they run away with this game enough to be a double-digit favorite on the road outside the dome, Joe?
Well, of course they do. And again, I'll say this. I like this Detroit defense more than I like their offense. I think the defense is better this year than the offense. And I think the defense is going to, again, make it almost impossible for the Bengals to run the ball. They only allow 3.8 yards per carry, this defense, which means Jake Browning is going to have to beat you with his arm. Yeah, good luck with that. Don't see that happening here. I would split it in half, though, because I think Detroit punches first. I think them in the first half is a good look because I think this game is over by the time the third quarter comes, and then it's going to be a whole lot of running and keep away. So, yeah, Detroit early for me in this one.
Jaden Daniels going to play this weekend for Washington, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. That line opened up around 3. It's mostly -2.5, depending where you're shopping at, in a total of 48.5. It's always tough to understand what we're going to get out of a quarterback coming back from a knee injury, particularly a mobile quarterback, not just a pocket quarterback in Jaden Daniels. How do you play this game knowing that the Chargers lost last week? They're probably upset about that, but also they got some key injuries going on their side of the football as well, Joe.
Yeah, to me, it's an over, Donnie. Herbert's going to have to, now that he's missing both tackles, they're going to have to get that passing game, that quick passing game going here. And this is Washington's third road game in 4 weeks. And of course, cross country, too, as well. So I do think there's going to be a little bit of fatigue on the defensive side for both these teams. It would not shock me if this game flies into the 50s.
I'll tell you what game I actually expect to go into the 50s too. Sunday Night Football, Joe. New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Not great defenses and offenses that are moving the football here. 49.5 is the price point here. And how about the look-ahead line, Joe? 10.5. That's now down to 8.5 and 8 at some outlets here. Trust in the Patriots to cover on the road against the Bills?
There is your other side of the teaser. Take the Bills down to 2.5. All you need them is to win the game by a field goal, which, Donnie, I believe this game will be closer than many people think.
By the way, I do love that offense for the Buffalo Bills. They can beat you in so many different ways. Couple touchdown passes on the docket in that game for each quarterback. Could be. Oh, we are waiting for Major League Baseball today. And we are waiting for Yarvish on the mound for the San Diego Padres in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. 3 games today, 1 in the afternoon, 1 right around dinner time, and 1 for the nightcap tonight. Love to see it. Winners advance, losers go home. It's the way it's supposed to be. It's what we love about the playoffs. But also, you know what you love about this time, Joe Ranieri? We like to reach out. We are a public show that deals with social media, and we need to hear from the people. Here's our Fade the Public poll. We know you're watching Major League Baseball today. We get it. But there's also an NFL game on tonight that is intriguing here because of who's going to play and who possibility has a chance to step up. At Sports Grid, our account on X, we asked the question today to you, the public. What are you betting tonight for 49ers versus Rams on Thursday Night Football? The answers were easy. An over and under, or the Rams, or the 49ers. That spread, 7.5 on both sides. Monster favorite here for the Rams at -7.5. And shout out, you see that hashtag up there? Eagles? Yeah, Eagles are always on our mind here at the Sports Grid Network. How about that? And where did you go, Joe?
Yeah, I went. We talked about this game earlier in the week because we had so many question marks with the 49ers. I went total wise, and I bet the under, and I still think the under is the way to go. And I might even look at the under early on in this game as well. I just don't see where the offense is going to come from here for the 49ers. Their best chance at this is to keep Stafford and company on the sideline. So maybe dink and dunk, use Robinson, use McCaffrey, try and keep the chains moving here. Don't think this is going to be some sort of wild and crazy shootout. I think Salah, even though he doesn't have Bosa, will be more than capable to limit on a short week what the Rams offensively want to do, which I think is going to be run the ball. So under for me in this one.
You know, Joe, you brought up a good point to start this show. It's not so much what the Rams can and can't do. It's what the 49ers can. Like, if the Rams, you think Sean McVay's playbook's like, I need to bust out the best plays of the year because we're going to have to score 45 points to beat this team. No. Usually that team's going to hang around. You'll, increase the lead by 6. You're up 9. You're up 12. There's no reason to throw the football down the field. You run the clock out. That could be a key ingredient tonight as opposed to, oh, no, we really have to score, which might not be the case for that Los Angeles Rams team. Should be a fun one to watch and bet, so make sure you keep here all day long on the Sports Grid Network for updates here and certainly which ways that you can bet.